So, we move on now to the book of Judges. And this book is extraordinarily difficult to get through. It's repetitious, and it's just plain dull. Oh, and repetitious. Like a lot of the rest of the Bible. It's also kind of on the repetitious side. Over and over, what we see a lot is, oh, the Jews fell out of grace with God. Oh, look, they're enslaved. Oh, look, they repent. Oh, look, they fall out of grace with God. Oh, look, they're enslaved. Oh, look, they repent. Over and frickin' over. I don't know how anyone gets through this book. I mean, it's like a really bad joke. With no punchline, I might add. It starts off in chapter 1 with some fella named Judah taking over from Joshua. In chapter 1, verses 3 through 5, they make war on the Canaanites, and they slaughter a metric fuck ton of people. They chase after this king of the Canaanites fellow named, wow, this is a tough one, Adonibezek. Adonibezek? Man, where did they come up with these names? But anyway, in verse 6 of chapter 1, they say, "But Adonibezek fled, and they pursued after him and caught him, and cut off his thumbs and his great toes." They cut off his thumbs and his big toes. These people are so messed up. They have, like, the worst tortures, the worst, interrogation techniques. They're brutal savages. Seriously. And then in 1:7, "And Adonibezek said, 70 kings, having their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table, as I have done, so God hath requited me. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and there he died." What does that even mean? I mean, okay, their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table? Does that sound vaguely filthy to anyone else? But even so, what does that mean? I genuinely do not understand. And seriously, all these people did, through most of this book, all they did was fight. What, were they bored? Get a pint at the pub, you assholes. Seriously, I mean, you don't have to keep hacking away on each other, just have a barroom brawl so no one gets killed. Then in 1:19, like everybody told me, they finally lose a battle to some people that had iron chariots. Okay, so they're not invincible. Finally, the Israelites lose a battle. Alright. Now, as near as I can tell, chapter 2 is a flashback, because this angel shows up and goes like, "Hey, how come you guys aren't kicking enough ass for the Lord?" And then Joshua dies again. So, flashback? It's not very clear. And then in chapter 2, they stop serving Jehovah, and the next thing you know, there's these people that enslave them, and then there's these judges that somehow manage to get them out of slavery despite their apostasy, and all of this stuff, and it's like, God didn't have to put them through that much torture to get them to come back to him. I don't know. And this is just the first time this happens. It'll happen like 8, 9, 12 more times in this book. Seriously. And it turns out that the people decide not to listen to the judges at all, which I wouldn't do, given just how cranky this Jehovah character's been. It's like, I wouldn't want to serve you either after the asshole you made of yourself. Seriously, if there's a God out there, I want him to be nice to me. I don't think that's asking too much. Alright, so in chapter 3, 1 through 7, they do the whole, "Oh, we stop believing you, we're not faithful anymore" thing, and so in 3:8, then they get sold to the king of Mesopotamia. Like, not literally sold, but their god sells them down the river to the king of Mesopotamia. Yeah. Okay. And they serve this guy with a really unpronounceable name for 8 years. And then in verse 3:9, "And when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord raised up a deliverer to the children of Israel, who delivered them, even Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother." So basically, John Connor says, "We'll smash the Terminators and get you out," is basically what happens. And you know, what we've got here is basically a really fucked up case of divine Munchausen by proxy syndrome. I mean, seriously, God says, you're not going to worship me the way I want you to? Well, fuck you. Go over there. And they're like, all right, we'll go over there. Oh, look, we're enslaved. And God goes, aha, now you need me, don't you? Come on, pray, say you need me. Come on. And they go, ooh, save us, save us, save us. And God's like, all right, sure, I'll save you. You know, it's seriously fucking codependent shit here. Really. And then they smash the Terminators, they win, and they get 40 years apiece off Neil Caxit. You know, that's the end of that chapter. Well, okay, not completely the end, because there's other stuff going on, because once again, hey, they stop loving God, and, they're like, oh, look, we're in slavery. Make up your frickin' minds. Either you like the guy or you don't, you know? I mean, it's kind of like either he's real or he's not, but still, come on, make up your frickin' minds. Well, they're not going to make up their minds for pages, but still. Yeah. And then for 12 verses, there's this really fucked up political assassination where some guy presents a dagger to this king as a present, and then when no one's looking, he stabs the king with the dagger and walks out like nothing happens, and shh, the king's taking a nap. And, he's long gone when they discover, wait, the king's not napping, he's dead. It's some fucked up shit in here. I mean, apparently God countenances political assassinations. Yeah. Nice guy. Chapter 4, the Israelites are misbehaving again. God says, oh, fuck y'all. And then somehow they beat the Canaanites, I guess. I don't know. It's just, man, it was along about this point where I desperately wanted to quit. And yet I read the whole frickin' thing, and man, part of me thinks I was right. And at some point, this one chick, Jael, I guess, Jael, I don't fucking know how to pronounce these words, but she gets some Canaanite general and gives him milk to make him sleepy, and then as he is drowsing, she drives frickin' tent pegs into his head, and then chops his head off once he's fully dead. They let kids read this shit. You know that? Kids. Alright? This is the kind of stuff that we couldn't allow in a PG-13 movie, and kids read the fucking Bible. I mean, sure, the adults probably keep them away from these parts, but still. Point is, whoever wrote this crap was a vindictive rat bastard. Seriously, savages. Every last one of them in here. Savages. And then in chapter 6, verse 1, and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Midianites for 7 years. Again, people? Again? Man, there aren't even words for how disgusted I am with these people. They deserve to get, killed or sent to hell or whatever the hell's going on here, because they're idiots and they're assholes. Every last one of them. Seriously, them and God. To be perfectly honest, I think they're just blaming their failure to be good at war on lacking their faith in God, rather than actually just admitting it to themselves and saying, yeah, we suck at this shit. So God goes to this fella named Gideon and says, hey, you want my help defeating the Midianites? And I'm sitting here thinking they had MIDI music back then, but no, they're from probably some place called Midia, I don't fucking know. But, so Gideon says, yeah, sure, God, pump me up. And so God makes him go all Rambo on them, and he kind of wins a lot. But before that happens, Gideon actually almost earns my respect. In fact, there's one verse in here where I'm like, wow, dude, that's awesome. But then he fucks it up later. Here, 6:17. And he said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest to me. Yeah, so basically what he's saying is, God, I heard something in my heart, but I don't know if it was you. So can you show me that it was you? Prove it to me? And I'm like, right on, dude. Skeptical thinking. Thank you. That's what you should have been doing all along, all you religious assholes. But then he goes and fucks it up. Because see, at 6:21, Then the angel of the Lord put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand, and touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and there rose up a fire out of the rock, and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. And when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of the Lord, Gideon said, Alas, O Lord, for because I have seen an angel of the Lord face to face. Yeah, okay, so some guy makes shit burn, and he goes, oh yeah, that's gotta be God. And for a minute there, I almost respected your ass. And then in chapter 7, before Gideon even goes into battle, there's this fucked up part where God says, you know what? You have too many men. And that'll let you just win the battle easily, so people won't know it was me that did it. And so, to give glory to God, to me, to God, you're going to have to send some of your men home. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding at all. It says here, 7:2, And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, Mine own hand hath saved me. Yeah, he has like 32,000 people, and God makes him reduce them down to 300. Really? Really? Because all to make sure that God gets the glory and not Israel? Fucking drama queen. Attention whore drama queen. That's this God. But of course they fucking win. Does anyone really buy this bullshit? Seriously? And then they go and make Gideon king because, he won. Yay, I guess. Now in 8:24, And Gideon said unto them, I would desire a request of you, that ye would give me every man the earrings of his prey, for they had golden earrings, because they were Ishmaelites. So, okay, the Ishmaelites all wear gold earrings, gold's valuable, I get that, and he's like, give me these prizes of the men you've killed and slaughtered, great. At least nobody's demanding foreskins this time. Just saying. So, Gideon dies, and we're on to chapter 9. Now, chapter 9 reads like something out of The Sopranos. It's a couple of warring families that decide to basically go on a mob war. Seriously. I mean, they get a bunch of thugs together for a certain number of pieces of silver, and then they send those thugs over to the other family and just fucking slaughter them. Yeah, it's a gang hit. And then in 9, 8 through 15, there's this weird stuff. It sounds like someone telling a story or a parable or something, but as best I can tell, it's basically a bunch of talking trees, fig trees, and grapevines and shit, all having a conversation. I didn't understand that. It's just, waha? It didn't even really culminate in a point. It was just, I don't know, like some sort of weird joke. Boggle. Now comes one of the revealing moments. 9:23. Then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. God sent an evil spirit? God's evil, gang. I told you. I fucking told you. And chapter 9 ends with more of that gang war shit. And we're on to chapter 10. Chapter 10. Oh, surprise, surprise! They fall out of favor with God because they stop believing and start worshiping other gods, so he sends them into some horrible hell pit. Again. A fucking again. Oh, my head hurts. And now chapter 11 is Jephthah's story. He's like the son of a harlot, and no one wants him. And then apparently when the country is in danger, they say to him, hey, you want to be our general? He says, me? You guys treated me like a dirty little bitch, but I'll be your general if you make me your leader. Like when the battle's over, I get to rule. And they said, sure, why not? Makes sense to me. And you know the rest of the story. He goes into battle and he says, God, if I can win, I'll sacrifice whatever I see when I get home. And lo and behold, it's his daughter. Oh, he has to sacrifice his poor little daughter. Oh, no. And then, she says, Dad, let me go up into the wilderness to bemoan my virginity for 2 months. I'll take a couple of my friends as chaperones, I guess. It'll be a great time, and then I'll come back and you can fucking kill me. Yeah, okay. If I was his daughter, I would have run for the fucking hills. He'd never see me again. Ever. It's funny. All these Jews are fighting battles left and right, and I'm sitting here thinking, my mom's side of the family is Jewish, and I can't really see any of them as fighters. Just saying. Now in chapter 12, the men of Ephraim, they show up to Jephthah and they said, hey, you beat all these people and you didn't invite us? Well, fuck you. And they try and kill him. Yeah, they say they're gonna burn down his house and him along with it. And they go to war over that. These people seriously need to dump some hormones. They go to war at the drop of a hat. Now, chapter 12, verses 5 through 6, some of the most childish shit I have ever heard. And the Gileadites took the passages of Jordan before the Ephraimites, and it was so, that when those Ephraimites which were escaped said, Let me go over, that the men of Gilead said unto him, Art thou an Ephraimite? And if he said, Nay, then they said unto him, Say now Shibboleth. And he said, Sibboleth, for he could not frame to pronounce it right. Then they took him and slew him at the passages of Jordan. And there fell at that time the Ephraimites 42,000. Yeah. Okay, so they killed 42,000 people because they couldn't pronounce a word right. Okay, fine, they were the enemies, I get it. And, I hate it when people mispronounce shit, you know that. But, seriously, they killed people because they couldn't say the word shibboleth? Really? Wow. So, in chapter 13, wonder of wonders, they fall out of grace again. Who knew? And some chick who they don't bother to name gives birth to a guy named Samson. Imagine that. Samson. We've probably heard of him, haven't we? He made those locks. No, wait. Samsonite were named after him. Well, what the fuck ever. Yeah, anyway. So then, in chapter 14, out of nowhere, Samson's chasing after this girl he likes, and he happens to see this dead lion. And he's like, oh, look, a dead lion, and hey, for some reason it has bees in it! And I'm going to take some of the honey and bring it home to my mom and dad, but not tell them it came out of a lion. The fuck? Who writes this shit? Were they on acid? Actually, I think they probably had fetal alcohol syndrome, because, Samson's mom was actually barren, and an angel shows up and says, hey, quit drinking so much, bitch, and you'll have a kid. And so she stops drinking, and hey, look, she has Samson, and, she decides he's going to be, a Nazarite? I almost said a Vegemite. No, a Nazarite all of his life because of this. And the Nazarites apparently don't cut their hair, which will be significant later. So, out of nowhere, Samson has a wife. He was chasing this chick, and then boom, he's married. There's no preamble, no nothing. All of a sudden it says he's got a wife. I mean, we don't even get to hear about the wedding. Not even sure we get to know her name. I think he, I don't know, I'd have to read it again, but he, kills her or divorces her. No, I remember what happens. Yes, actually, it's in my notes. His father-in-law decides, hey, Samson, you're not paying enough attention to my daughter or something, and so he gives her away to, Samson's brother-in-law or something, I don't remember, but gives her away, and Samson's like, what? That's my wife, what are you doing? And so he starts playing pranks on the Philistines, or the Philistines, I don't fucking know which one it is, but he starts playing pranks on them so that they will go and blame it on his wife's family and go fuck them up. Yeah, apparently. Man, these guys are draconian as hell, I'm telling you. And the Israelites are like, dude, what are you doing? You're going to bring them down on our heads. What's wrong with you? And they try to kill him, but they tie him up with ropes, and he pulls a Superman. He's like, because he got the Lord with him, and breaks through the ropes, right? And then in 16:1, he fucks a hooker, but then in 16:4, he meets this Delilah chick, and, marries her, starts going out or something. And all of his enemies are like, hey, we know he's got a weakness. Can you figure out his weakness? What's his kryptonite? And Delilah's all, I'll ask him. And he tells her, but he lies to her, which I'm pretty sure is, against one of those commandment thingies. But he lies to her. And so she tries to make him weak, and he goes, ha-ha, I'm still strong. Yeah. And breaks free of it. Next thing you know, Delilah's all, well, no, tell me what your weakness really is. Now, any normal person would have said, hey, this bitch is trying to fuck me up. She tried to find out my weakness. I lied to her. She told a bunch of thugs to come get me and told them what the fake weakness was. And, they came to kill me, for crying out loud. She tried to have me killed. So I should deal with her, maybe. But no, he decides to keep her around because she amuses him. And then for the next little while, she's constantly like, come on, man, tell me your weakness. Come on, man, tell me your weakness. And he keeps faking her out over and over. And the same thing keeps happening. And I guess he thinks it's a prank. But then at some point, he actually tells her what the weakness really is. What are you, fucking stupid? So he tells her, hey, it's because I'm a Nazarite. We're not supposed to cut our hair. My power is in my hair. And so she cuts off his head pubes. And, the next thing you know, he's a prisoner. His captors pluck out his eyes, and then they're about to have him executed. And as he's stumbling along, with some, little servant boy to help him figure out where to go, he grabs onto some pillars and goes, God, give me strength, and wrenches them together, and the walls come down, or the ceiling comes down, walls too, probably, and crushes him and everyone else in the building. And that's the end of Samson. Then we get to chapter 19, where I swear, chapter 19, verse 11. And when they were by Jebus, the day was far spent. Jebus. It actually fucking says Jebus. I swear. I think that was even a joke in Family Guy at one point, but it really fucking says Jebus. I swear. This is also the part, Richard Dawkins quoted it at one point in one of his documentaries, where an angry mob comes to a house and batters on the door and says, hey, come out so we can fuck you and your guest. And they say, no, here, take my daughter and his concubine and fuck them too. I always thought that was part of, Sodom and Gomorrah, but it turns out not so much. Also, part they didn't get to, turns out the guy's concubine had been sleeping around a lot, so after the angry mob rapes her, the guy kills her, chops her up, and sends her body parts around. To other towns, I guess as a warning to other hookers or some shit. I don't remember, but yeah. Nice fellows. Very, kind and forgiving. Well, like you're supposed to be in religion, right? Then there's a metric fuck ton of battle. The end. And boy, am I glad it is. This shit sucked. Seriously. It was painful to read Judges. This shit went on and on and on. It was repetitive. Luckily, the Book of Ruth might as well be the pamphlet of Ruth. It's not even 2 pages. So, the next video will be easier to get to. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance, reading the Bible so you don't have to.